Okay, what we have here are called mica caps. These are part of the Coprinus family of mushrooms, which are also known as inky caps, and they're called that because to distribute their spores, they actually sort of melt or dissolve into a black inky liquid that seeps back into the ground. And because of that, you can't really store these mushrooms. I've heard that you pretty much have to eat them within an hour or two of picking them, or they'll start to deliquesce and turn into the black inky liquid. You definitely can't store them overnight. We did that as an experiment, and I may do that for this video just to kind of show you what happens. But they're called mica caps, and the reason is, and I don't know if I can find an example that hasn't been washed off by the rain. Kind of can right here. They have a sort of a shiny, sparkly substance on the cap that kind of glistens like mica. And I don't know if it's going to pick that up, but you can look up pictures on the internet if you're interested. That's why they're called mica caps. The Latin name I can't remember offhand, something like Coprinellus mycorrhizus or something like that, but I'll look it up when I get home. But you can kind of see these are young ones. They're still lighter in color. These right here are pretty much prime for eating. This is an edible mushroom. These over here are turning dark, and you can kind of see, in fact, if I show you, they're starting to turn. They're starting to sort of melt into that black inkiness. And you can see it rubbing off on my finger right there. But those are a little past their prime. I wouldn't probably eat those. They wouldn't hurt you. They just wouldn't taste as good. These do have a sort of a look-alike that's also in the Coprinus family. It's called the alcohol inky. And maybe later in the year, whenever I find some of those, I'll do a video on those. The interesting thing about those is they're also edible and safe to eat, except they tell you do not eat them with alcohol or within 48 hours either way, before or after consuming alcohol, because they have an adverse reaction with the alcohol and can make you really sick. They won't kill you or anything, but they'll make you sick. So if you're not sure, of course, if you're not sure, don't ever eat a mushroom if you're not sure what it is. But if you know it's either a mica cap or an alcohol inky, you're just not sure which one, definitely don't consume it with alcohol, just in case. So some people say that these are not really a particularly choice edible. I actually really like them. I think they have a really nice flavor. But they're really small, and so you have to find a lot of them, and you have to eat them quickly. You can't preserve them or store them at all. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a bunch of these. I'll take them home. I'll show you how I cook them. I'm just going to take mostly the younger ones. I'll take those. You can see that they do have gills. They have really fine gills that start out white, but they turn gray and then black over time. So I'm going to show you how I cook them, and then I'll also show you what happens if you just leave some sit overnight. I just wanted to show you how we have these mica caps growing right here in a section of our garden. And there's a leaf litter. Some little ones popping up down there. There's, I don't know if you can see, but they have that sort of glistening, powdery substance on them, which is why they're called mica caps. I think we're supposed to get some more rain tonight, so I'm gonna leave these and see if maybe they're bigger tomorrow. Of course, you're taking a risk. They may be all turning to liquid by tomorrow, but we'll see. Cover them back up. Okay, so I've got the mica caps washed up here. I'm ready to cook them. And I thought I would just show you, I've got a bright light so I can try to show you a close-up of what they look like. As you can see, they have ridges, and the stems are actually hollow. Very, very thin stems, and they're hollow. I can cut one open and kind of see what the profile of the inside looks like. And these are turning black. You can see the gills are turning black really fast. I just picked these maybe half an hour, 45 minutes ago, and I don't think that some of these were as black as they are now, but anyway, when I cook these down, they will cook down to just a fraction of the volume that we have here. So you really have to get a big mess to get a substantial snack. But I think they're quite tasty. Maybe not quite as good as the Shaggy Mane, which is another inky cap that I find a lot of in the fall. They're one of my favorites, and I'll eventually do a video on that. But I'm going to cook these up, and basically all I usually do is just saute them in butter, garlic, and salt. It's one of my favorite ways to eat them. I've got some wild watercress there too that I'll do a video on at another time as well. So like I said, I'm just sauteing these. Not going to cook them too long because you can overcook them pretty fast. And they really release their water. You'll see this get really liquidy in here. And they'll start to shrink down. You can put these in soups or omelets, but I just like the flavor of them by themselves with a little salt and garlic. Now the Latin name I was trying to think of earlier is Copernellus Micaceus. I think that's how you pronounce it. Like I said, it's one of the inky cap mushrooms. It's a rather small one that most people just overlook, but I think they're a really tasty little snack. The other thing I'm going to do, as I mentioned, I am just going to leave these out. I'll maybe check back on them in a few hours, and maybe just check back on them in the morning to show you what they look like as they melt down into their black inky liquid. So I drained most of the liquid off, and that's what I'm left with. Cooked mica cap mushrooms. These I maybe didn't mention, but these grow in the springtime. I have seen them pop up in the fall as well, but usually they grow right around the time or even right before the morels start popping up. That's a pretty good indicator when you're out walking through the woods. You see these start popping up, and you know that the morels are either not far behind or maybe already coming up. So I think we're just maybe a week or two away here. It's been a warm winter, so everybody thinks they're going to come early this year. But this is a nice little snack while you're waiting.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm playing a game.
Would you like to try a bite of Mica Caps?
Have I ever had them before?
Yes.
Okay. Yum.
You like them? Alright, I wanted to show you these ones in my garden that I showed yesterday. They're just tiny little nubs popping up. I wanted to show you what they did overnight. Again, like I said, we got a lot more rain during the night and this morning. They're hiding all down in here. Some of them fairly decent size. So I'm going to harvest another batch of them and cook them up. Okay, this is the second batch I just picked today from our garden, and this is actually a very large mica cap. They don't get a whole lot bigger than that before they start opening up and then turning to ink. These are actually very good eating size, and they're very, I don't know if you can see, the gills are still quite light gray, which is good. They're very, very tasty when they're in this stage right here. Once they start turning darker than that black, they just lose a little bit more of their flavor. And I thought I would mention a few facts that I forgot to mention yesterday. One is that now I've read conflicting reports. Sorry about the car noise. I've read conflicting reports on what actually the common inky is. I've seen places where they say that this is the common inky, and other reports say that the alcohol inky are known as the common inky. And so I don't know which one is actually correct, but I just refer to these as Mica Caps and the alcohol inky as the alcohol inky. And I couldn't find a whole lot in nutrition facts on these, except that they did a test, I guess, on 34 different species of mushrooms. I don't know exactly all which ones were tested, but out of the ones that were, these are found to be the highest in potassium, the highest level of potassium. So they do have nutritional value, as I think all mushrooms do, some more than others. And as I start going through different types of mushrooms that I find and do research on, I will let you know some nutritional facts on each one, what I can find. But I wanted to show you these. These are the ones that I set out yesterday to sit out overnight. And as you can see, this is what happens to them. They just, I can't even pick them up. They just dissolve into black ink. And that's how they distribute their spores. The spores are actually black at this point, and the black that you see in there are the spores that run back into the ground and create future generations. So I'm going to take these and put them back in that spot in our garden so they can continue to grow for years to come, and I can continue to enjoy them. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.